Okay, so hello. This is my third YouTube video, and I believe the topic for this YouTube video is going to be why I create art, because that's what I was thinking about on the walk coming here. And yeah, so I just kind of got finished watching a YouTube video on YouTube, obviously, about narcissism, and one of the traits of narcissism is having deep insecurity and needing constant validation, and also having grandiose self-beliefs and having kind of delusions of grandeur where you think that you're like different than other people or more special than other people, and how harmful that is, and how in society those kind of belief systems and character traits are they're rewarded, and that's kind of the kind of belief system that you have to have. Well, not that you have to have, but it's a pretty efficient way to go through this world and find, financial or societal, success or validation. But at the same time, those kind of traits are also really damaging to healthy human relationships. And you can go throughout your life really harming other people, and, not having as enriching or as a connective human experience. And I think, maybe this kind of goes off into, I don't know, belief systems or pseudopsychology, but I think it's pretty safe to say that, at least I believe that humans are really here to connect with other human beings. And I think, there's kind of biological statistics or evidence to back that up. And so I think how I really want to live a, fulfilling life, or I don't know, I think that's kind of broad, but I definitely want to have healthy, relationships with other people. And part of that is also, and I think the type of relationships that I want, that I think are going to be fulfilling to me, are ones that are not found upon narcissism or narcissistic traits. There we go, narcissistic traits. I'm fully aware that narcissism, actual narcissism, like narcissistic personality disorder, is a diagnosis and a personality disorder. I'm just talking about traits, kind of societal traits and human behaviors. Let's see here. And just kind of to close this off, just I don't want to have, relationships based upon narcissistic traits, because I don't think, I've already experienced that and encountered that, and that's not been enriching to me. So I want to base it upon something else. But kind of one of those main characteristics, insecurity and validation. I think it, just as you see on the internet, and also just kind of from celebrity documentaries, that people kind of who really are successful in making art tend to be really kind of insecure, people who probably do have some narcissistic disorders or personality disorders or blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, well, I definitely want to, I imagine myself, drawing and painting and performing, but I'm like, okay, how much is that really me, and how much is that me just, seeking validation, or is that just, a way I get my needs met, and not really something that is expression or something that might be healthy for me long term. And one kind of interesting fact about me is I did grow up performing. I started dancing, ballet dancing and tap dancing when I was 5, and I quit when I was 15. I said that before. And this was because my Grammy M, who signed me up because she loved performing and wanted us to have a musical background, but she'd also tell us how special we were, which is honestly important, but like, I don't know, like, I think maybe the compliments got to a point where it could kind of put our self-esteem at risk, kind of constantly being validated, or wanting that kind of response from someone. Um, and so I'm kind of like, like, am I actually making art because that's something that enriches me, or is something that resonates with me, or is it because, it's pretty much the only way I was validated as a kid? And let's see here. I also piano played, and that, after the performances or when I played piano, I'd be applauded and, rewarded in that way. But, growing up as a kid, the fifth of 9 kids, there's not much attention to go around. You have 2 parents who are already kind of messed up, and then you have 8 other siblings who are completely attention starved and probably neglected in more than a couple ways. And like, the only time you really get that attention is when you're performing. I think the most attention I ever got was when I was performing, or when I had some artistic thing to give to people. So I'm like, gosh, like, what am I doing? Am I just performing trauma by just going on the internet, posting on the internet, making posts on the internet? Is this all just a trauma response? I hope not. I hope that I'm not going on the internet and, acting out trauma. I think, I don't know, another thing is, I don't really have very many friends in real life. And I think, there's also been some problematic people in my life, but I also need to be aware that, okay, well, we do have parts to play in the relationships that we make. And me not having any really close friendships really says more about me than it does about the people currently in the topics of friendships, than actually the people that I was friends with. There are some weird scenarios where you really do get, one bad batch after another. And I think, I don't know, I think I know enough about myself that could be partly true on my part. But also, I think I really am a deeply insecure person, and I do really struggle to be vulnerable because, I'm scared of being degraded or humiliated or embarrassed or, treated as lesser than because of my faults or, things of that nature. So it's kind of like, gosh, you're not opening up to people, you're not being vulnerable with people, and you're, that's not healthy. Human beings need human relationships and human contact. So, like, what are you gonna have to do? And I think, we have to acknowledge our shadow selves, and I think there's a really ugly part of me that does think that, like, I'm, we all have problems. We all sing. I think we all sing. So this is obviously, I'm just bringing my faults to the table right now. But I think I really have a dark part of me that really has a deep desire to be different and to be unique and to be special. And that's not good. It's good. It's good in some ways. It's good because you have to know that, you are beautiful, special, and important. But it gets bad when you believe that you're more special than other people. That's where the problem lies, where you compare yourself to other people. Bad, not good. Comparison is the thief of joy. You should not be comparing yourself really very much at all to anyone else, because you are on your own path, and you need to have understanding for yourself and not compare yourself to other people's paths, because they've been supported and challenged, and they have their own flaws in their own way. But I think this is not a cop-out, this is not an excuse, but this is maybe a reason why, and I'm not going to linger on it. But I think as a kind of homeschool child that was not treated well, was kind of overlooked in the communities that he was in, there is a huge predisposition to be insecure and to constantly compare yourself. Because when you're so isolated as I was, there's really no hierarchy. There's kind of, I don't know, maybe there a little bit was, but you're kind of, human beings, we're always trying to kind of place where we are in the hierarchy. And when you are just in your own family circle, you don't really get the opportunity to like place yourself and kind of solidify an identity, in the kind of, I don't know, magnum opus or kind of grand scheme of it all. And it's good in some ways. It's good that, you aren't conditioned by your school or your community to believe a certain way about yourself. But also, that can go one way and you be really hyper successful, or maybe not hyper successful, but I'll get to that. Or you become really just yourself really boldly, or you become insecure and you just become really, really insecure because no one's told you anything, or you don't really, you're uncertain. So I'm like, gosh, like, what am I doing on the internet? I think it is to be validated. I think I am kind of insecure and I do want to be validated. And it's okay to want attention. So obviously, posting on the internet might be kind of a healthy thing to kind of get attention because you don't feel like you're getting enough in your real life. But then it's like, oh, okay. Like, and also, this whole video might be just a spurt out, of a shame, around wanting attention. Maybe I just need to be okay with wanting attention. Like, yeah, I want attention. I want to be thought of and considered, and I want attention. I'm kind of attention starved. So, I don't know. It's kind of a balance. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So I'm like, okay, well, where's the balance then? Like, I want attention. Wanting attention is a good thing, but then if you want too much attention, then you're insecure, and you really are. You need to, you depend on validation from other people. But so maybe it's a good thing to post on the internet. I really think it's good for me personally to post on the internet and have it not get too many people, because when I see that I put myself out there, no one's gonna like cut me down. Like, there's not gonna be like some huge emotional reaction, like, I don't know. I think posting on the internet and not getting too much of a response is a good thing because it's a little bit of a reality check. It's a little bit like Warren Van Beek. You are not being perceived as harshly or as wide as you think you are, so really, I think posting on the internet and kind of realizing that no one's out to get you is a really healthy thing. So for me, I think posting on the internet, how it is for me and what I'm doing it for, is a good thing because it's kind of a way for me to talk about myself and kind of an environment where I think there's not space for me to kind of be as kind of self-reflective or kind of talking about myself in the way that I do. I don't want. So, let's see here. Let's see, what was I talking about? Yeah, what it means for me right now to post on the internet. Like, what's the reason? Well, probably after I do post this video, I'm gonna kind of get a little bit worried. Oh, please, Warren Van Beek, you're not gonna get worried. Holy cow. Get over, not get over yourself, but just calm down. Literally, boy, girl. But I think I also have and this kind of goes into what the next thing I'm trying to say, is I really do have a fear of being misunderstood. I really, really am scared that people are going to perceive me as like conceited or selfish. And that, or, that like, I think I do have a fear of people, like, I don't know. I have a fear of being embarrassed or humiliated. Do I? Am I just thinking of something to say? I don't know. And, oh gosh, and this conversation's